Hey everybody, it's Nathan Cool with nathancoolphoto.com, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to do a day to dusk conversion to turn something that looks like this into something that looks like this. So the technique is something I call the early bird, and this is outlined in my book on exterior photography, where sometimes it's not always optimal to get that twilight time for a shoot, but the same technique can also be used for cloudy days, days where you might really want to swap out the sky to do something different. If you've got a very bright sunny day and you've got a lot of shadows going on, the twilight will never look exactly right. Now there are services out there that will provide off of processed pictures that you already have to do some day to dusk conversions for you, but they'll never be quite the same as this technique. And the reason being is once you pass off a JPEG to more editing, it's really not going to have the white balance control. It's not going to have the same type of quality. So this is almost a guaranteed technique to get you a very high quality imitation twilight shoot doing this day to dusk conversion. Once again, it's in my book on exterior photography, and I've got a link to that also in the description of this video if you want to check that out. Anyways, you want to see how this is done? Let's get started. The trick to doing this type of a day to dusk conversion, what I call the early bird in my book on exterior photography, is that the idea would be that you've got something that's not quite a twilight, something that looks like this would be a good early bird, or something that actually looks like this. This is a very rainy day that was out here, and also I'm going to do a bonus on this one and show how to get rid of some of this junk off to the side and also repair some of this yard. But for the early bird, typically what you would do, and it's the same concept that we'll be doing with this particular photo, is that the idea here is that you have two different exposures. So always shoot in brackets. When you're doing exteriors, it gives you a lot of flexibility to do things later, something I talk about quite often throughout my books. So shooting in brackets on these exteriors, you've got then a shot that, yeah, it's okay, but it's not really a twilight. Then take one brighter, and this is where the key comes in, is that you're really going to start making adjustments to this, and then you're going to slowly blend the other two together. We're going to eventually do a sky swap, and then I'm going to add some presets to it at the end. So to show how that's done, let's take this really difficult example here. So this guy, you can see by the histogram, he's kind of underexposed. There's really not a lot going on, but that's good if this was going to be a twilight shoot, because the front of the house and most of the yard and trees and everything would be a little bit underexposed. What you do then is you take another shot that you've shot that's a little bit overexposed. Okay. Now with this one then, what you want to do is up the warmth on it. So it's okay that it's blown out. We want that a little bit. We're only going to blend portions of it in there. You can see it's very overexposed looking at it up here in the histogram. So all that you need to do is up that warmth. So you can do it on the white balance slider and really get it warm looking. The warmer the better. And you can play with this over time and see what works well for you based on the camera that you're using. Once again, all of this is shot in RAW, and having that RAW footage allows you this immense amount of flexibility to decide what you want to do. Now, these pictures have already had the standard presets applied to them that I outline in my books, where I've taken care of the distortion control, taken care of some of the verticals, all that type of stuff. So let's just jump right to it. The only adjustment then that I really had to do to really get this one to pop, there's some other stuff that I show in the exterior book, but this is the basis of it. So you grab both of those pictures, and then what we're going to do is go to edit, excuse me, I do Alt P, E, O, O, which is going to then get me to photo, edit in, open as layers in Photoshop. Now you could do this also by right-clicking on it and edit as layers in Photoshop, and it's just like any other one that we'd be working with. By the way, that's going to be the sky swap that we're going to use. But it's just a matter of we're going to open both of these in Photoshop. This was shot handheld, so the first thing I need to do once this is loaded up is I need to align those layers. Now, of course, I've got action. You've seen me use it before in my other videos where I hit F2 and it auto-aligns that. But basically what you would do is you would select all the layers, and then you would go to edit, auto align layers, and just do auto. And that makes sure, since these weren't on a tripod, that this is going to be auto aligned. And you can see that they were off. Okay. So now that's the hard part. That's all done. Now I'm going to take that overexposed shot and I'm going to move it up to the very top. So it's over top of everything. Okay. And let's just zoom in a little bit so you can see what's going on. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a layer mask to hide everything. So I'm going to go layer, mask, hide all. Now I'm going to take a brush and I'm going to use a 10% flow. Okay, you can see that up here, it's set at 10%. And I'm going to use that brush to first highlight some of the areas that would be more of the twilight exposure. So the inside, here are these windows, I'm going to start brushing it on. And you notice it's not just because it's a highly exposed shot that I had picked, but I also warmed it up so now it has that tone, okay? So make sure you do that first to the lights, and here's the exterior lights, which by the way, I had those turned on so they have a little bit of a natural effect on this cloudy day. And there's one in here, and there's one down here on the ground. Okay, so those are the lights, the windows. There's a little bit of one here. But now you also want to blend that in. So you want to have now a little bit of warmth. I'm just brushing in around where the light would have exuded out. Not as much on the rest of this. And of course, let's do the garage too. Let's go ahead and just do a whole bunch of these. Do each window a little bit, brighten them up, bring a little bit in there. Okay, and this is what you do to all the windows on the front, all the exterior lights, and you're starting to bring in then the warmth. Now I'm overlaying just a little bit more here so I get that nice blending. Go in here, you can see that warmth is really starting to come out and that exposure where I wanted it to, as though this is really happening at twilight, which of course it's not. Now to make this look realistic though for the rest of the yard and the house, and you can, by the way, just do this to your heart's content until you find something you like, okay? I think that looks pretty good. It might not look like it yet, but when you see the post-processing come in, you'll see what I'm talking about. So let's zoom out just a little bit and let's take a look at this yard. Now I'd have some light coming in from this doorway and also from the window, so I want to brush some of that out as though those were coming out on the yard, and then hit just some dot spots around here, and it'll add a little bit of oomph as though some natural. It's hard to imagine, but at night there's actually a lot of weird shadows and lighting going on that you typically can't see till you take a twilight shot. So you just kind of do that a little bit, maybe light up that sidewalk a little bit more right underneath that window, and maybe a little bit on the driveway. Okay, so we got some of that kind of going on. Okay, and that looks good. Make sure we really get that in there. And really not much in front. We want it dark in the front. We want to start bringing the light towards the house. That'll guide the eye there. Now if you have a little bit too much at one spot you want to get rid of, obviously just flip to eraser, use a 10% flow eraser, and then maybe erase a little bit, where you don't want quite as much warmth on there, and also the exposure. Okay, so a couple things we need to do next. The basic thing is we need to do a sky swap. We need to put something better in there. So obviously I've got videos on doing the sky swap. I'm going to do another one here. So the first thing I'm going to do is select a sky that I want. And the sky that I want to use is this one. I have a whole collection of stuff like this that I happen to just shoot out the back of my house, or when I'm someplace, I see a nice sky, I capture those and I've got those in my collection. So I'm just going to grab that whole thing. I'm going to take that over as a new layer and just paste it. That's it. Now turn the opacity down so I can see where it is. And then I'm just going to move that into place. So I'm just going to rise that a little bit, and I can see kind of where those clouds are. I think I'm going to put those clouds right about there. That looks good to me. And as we bring that in, yeah, I can start seeing that's going to have a nice sky right where that's placed. Okay. Then just go layer, mask, hide. All right. Now we're going to go to the regular exposed picture. This will be easier for doing our color selection. So the very bottom layer, which was the darkest exposure, I'm going to do select and then color range. This is just almost the exact same technique that I use on my sky swap videos. So here I'm just going to go ahead and select a color, then go over here and select a little plus dropper and start clicking around the edges, making sure that we're really going to get all the various colors that are there. It's hard to imagine, but there are various colors throughout here, different shades of gray, maybe a little bits of blues, and have the fuzziness right about here. Always works best on this type of stuff, right around the 60 range. You can see here that, yeah, that's picking out that good amount of sky. Click OK. Now it's selected other things because of the color range, so we want to go ahead and grab our quick selection tool. Make sure it's on the minus, and brush over those areas we don't want. You can see how the marching ants are over parts of the house, and we don't want that. We just want it over the sky. We just want the horizon. So you get rid of that stuff. There's a little bit up here on the neighbor's rooftop. That's okay. And we're going to get rid of some of this over here, so it probably doesn't really matter that much anyways. Now that we have that selected, I'm going to go back up here to that layer, to the sky. I'm going to go select, modify feather. 1 or 2 pixels is pretty good for feathering. I'm going to just use 1 on this particular shot. Then hit X, which is going to go ahead and reverse the colors, which you see over here are white and black. I'm going to reverse that to black and white. And then just press your delete key. Boom. Press Control D, that unselects it. Pretty good. Okay, now I can hit X again, which brings me back into my normal type of brush mode. Now I'm going to drop that opacity just a tad. You can also do it by flow, and right up just in the high 90s, mid 90s tends to work fairly well. To get a more realistic then area across the roof line, select an eraser at a 10% flow and just do 1 quick swipe across, and that's about all that you need. That will help then blend it even more. So that's looking pretty good for what we're about to do once we get into the rest of the post-processing. But we need to also do some repair on this yard. Now, for MLS, technically speaking, yes, it should be shown like this. But if you do want to boost it up a little bit, what you can do is select that color picker down here for your colors. Make sure that that bottom layer is selected because that's the true colors we're going to work with. Select an area of grass and you can see it brings in that green color. Now, go up above where that would be, which would be then above, it could actually be all the way at the top since the sky is not going to really be affected, but we'll put it right above the layers for the house. So go down here and select this little round little doodad there, and that's going to allow you to make a new layer with as a solid color, which is good. Select OK. Now change that to color mode, all right, and invert the mask by clicking on it and going Control I. Take a low flow brush and then basically paint in where you're starting to see those brown areas. And that'll start greening up the grass a little bit. Okay. Now you can go over the entire grass if you want to. And what you can do later, after this, is kind of like paint it in a little bit. Once again, this is still leaving it natural. I could replace the entire grass with someone else's yard and kind of warp that into place, but this gives a more natural look. Next, drop your fill on that a little bit so it gives a more natural color blending into it. As you can see without it, and then with it, so we've got just that little bit of added green in there. So the next thing I'm going to do then is crop this guy down, and I want to get rid of as much of this truck as I can without hurting what the house will be. And also don't need the neighbor's bush in there, and also the alignment had a little bit of funny stuff going on with it, so where we lost it. And let's get some more of that sky in there because that really shows a lot of good stuff about the property. So the way that we did it. So that looks like about a pretty good crop. Let's just say that that's where we want to do it, and that's fine. Okay, let's go to Layer, Flatten Image. Okay, and now let's go ahead and do the lasso. Sorry about that. All right, and then we go Edit, and then we want to go to Fill, make sure Content to Where is selected, and then you can fill it. Now, that didn't do a very good job of it. You can try a few different times to do that, or you can start cloning stuff in. But usually if picking right as soon as you get like an edge of the house, then things start to fill in a little bit better. It's kind of filling in something there, but not the best. So what we can do then is just start cloning in some of that if we wanted to, and just clone some of that away possibly. So it doesn't look as bad like there's some truck in the yard. There's actually something there, but you can't tell exactly what it is. So we'll just clone some of that out now. Very simple, just using the clone tool. We can even go down here, get some of that dirt just kind of going over there and whatever. So that actually isn't quite as bad as what it was. So anyways, this is kind of where we are right now. Let's just go ahead and save that. Once we do, that's going to go back into Photoshop. Now, this content-aware fill, getting rid of all that stuff, that's just bonus. Doing the yard, that's all fine. As far as though the day to dusk conversion is concerned, that's where the next step comes in. So now we're back in Lightroom, and there's some presets that now I can apply to it, and I'll show you what those are. So first thing I'm going to do is my typical day to dusk. So I'm just going to go ahead and click it. It's over here on the left, and it does this to it. Now that's not too bad. There's a few tweaks that I'll do to it, but before I do, let's walk through what that is. So what it did was it brought the contrast up by about 25. It brought the highlights down to -90. It bumped the shadows up to +46. Whites went up to 17, blacks went down to 35, clarity went up 20, vibrance went up 5, and here's some key stuff. When you're in HSL, look where the saturations went. A little bit of red, orange went up to 12, blue went up to 18, and the purple went up to 6. The luminance part of it then also brightened the oranges by going up to 30, a little bit more on the yellows, and then it darkened the blues. And that's why this blue has this real rich color in it. So I can just back that off a little bit, which will just make those blues then not so bad. We'll also take some of the saturation out of the blue. So you can do this to your heart's content until you find something that you really like, something that actually would work really well. And that would be probably what I would consider to be about done. And so when we go ahead and we export that out, the final product looks like this. So that's the basics of how you do a day to dusk conversion, really just using 2 exposures. One is a little bit underexposed and one is overexposed, probably about 2 stops apart. Now, if you're shooting in RAW, you can adjust that then before you take them in to do further blending. And the idea behind it is that the highlighted shot, the really bright one, you warm it up. You really warm it up, and then when you take those 2 into Photoshop, that layers on top and you paint that into where you want it to start imitating where that warm light would have been. So all the windows, all of the lights that are outside of the house, spots around the yard, and that's about it. Then of course you add your own twilight sky swap in there, and then when you bring it all back together into Lightroom, you add a preset to it. And I have some other presets that are shown in my book on exterior photography, and there's some presets also in the advanced editing book, which also shows how then to do things like the content aware fill and using the clone stamp. But those aren't really necessary. Those are just little added bonuses I threw in here just to show for this particular shot what I had to do. Same way with greening up the yard. There's a lot of ways to go about it. That was just one technique. But for the day to dusk, without having to do all that, you can see it's a fairly simple process to do it, but you got to be careful about what pictures you would choose to do that with. If you take something at high noon, you got a lot of shadows, well, you're going to have some weird looking stuff because you're going to have these dark shadows from trees, shadows under the eaves, stuff like that that really won't make it look as good. But it's one of these techniques where if it's a cloudy day, it's a rainy day, you can really though turn lemons into lemonade by then taking what would be a cloudy, awful looking shot and turn it into an impactful twilight shot. Anyways, I hope this was very helpful to you and that you can use some of this in your photography as well. If you did like this video, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. It won't cost you anything, and as soon as one of these videos is posted, you'll be the first to know. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, take care, be safe, and get out there and shoot something.